Your friend texts you at 1 a.m., spiraling about something she said in a meeting 6 hours ago. You don't even hesitate. Within seconds, you're typing back exactly what she needs to hear. You didn't sound stupid. You sounded human. Everyone overthinks stuff like this. And you mean it, every word. 20 minutes later, you're lying in the dark replaying something you said today, and the voice in your head doesn't sound anything like the one you just used with her. It's colder, harsher. It says things like, "Why do you always do this?" And everyone probably thinks you're annoying now. Same brain, same night. Two completely different people talking. If this sounds familiar, you already know the strange ache of being someone's safe place while feeling like you don't have one yourself. Think about the last time someone you love was hurting. A friend going through a breakup, a sibling who failed something they worked hard for, a partner having a rough week. What did you do? You probably got soft, patient. You found the right words almost instinctively. That doesn't mean you're not enough. You're allowed to feel this way. You're being too hard on yourself. Now think about the last time you were the one hurting. What did that voice sound like? For a lot of people, it sounds like an entirely different person took over. Someone stricter, someone keeping score, someone who says, "Get over it," instead of, "It's okay to feel this." This isn't a coincidence, and it isn't a character flaw. It's a pattern. And once you see it, you start noticing it everywhere. In the way you defend friends, but never defend yourself. In the way you forgive others instantly, but hold on to your own mistakes for years. Here's why this matters more than it seems. The way we treat ourselves in private moments, the ones nobody sees, is often the truest sign of how safe we actually feel within ourselves. Not how confident we look, not how put together we seem. How safe we feel when no one else is watching. And a lot of people who are incredible at comforting others are underneath it running on empty. They give away the exact thing they never learned how to give themselves. So why does this happen? Why can we access compassion so easily for others, but it feels almost foreign when it's pointed inward? Psychologists call part of this the self-compassion gap, and it usually traces back to how we learned to handle emotions growing up, not just from big traumatic events, often from small, repeated moments. Maybe you grew up in a home where emotions were tolerated, only if they were quiet, where crying got you a "you're fine" instead of a hug, where being upset was something to manage quickly, not something to sit with. In environments like that, kids don't stop feeling things. They just learn that their feelings are inconvenient. So they get really good at reading other people's emotions because that kept the peace, while quietly deciding their own emotions weren't worth that same attention. That skill doesn't disappear when you grow up. It becomes your personality. You become the friend who always knows what to say, the one people call first, the reliable one, the strong one. But nobody ever taught you how to turn that same gentleness toward yourself because you were never given a template for it. You were only ever on the giving end. Real quick, before we go on, if that explanation just made something click for you, that's exactly what this channel is for. Hit subscribe if you want more of these. Now, let's see what this actually looks like in real life. Imagine two coworkers make the same mistake on a project. One of them comes to you, panicking, saying, "I completely messed this up." You immediately say, "It's one mistake. It doesn't define your work. We'll fix it together." Now, imagine you make that same mistake. Suddenly, the story changes. It's not one mistake anymore. It's, "See, this is why people don't trust me with big things." It's not, "We'll fix it together." It's silence and shame and staying late to fix it alone so no one finds out. Same mistake, same size, two entirely different verdicts. One from a judge, one from a friend, and you're both. This is what makes the pattern so exhausting. You're not lacking kindness. You have plenty of it. You just built a filter that only lets it flow outward, never back in. Here's the deeper layer, though. The part most people miss. Being the strong one, the comforter, the one who has it together. It isn't just a habit. For many people, it becomes an identity, and identities feel dangerous to question. If you've always been the person who helps, some part of you may quietly believe that being needed is what makes you valuable. That if you stopped holding everyone else together, stopped being the reliable one, you might not know who you are underneath that. So being hard on yourself while being endlessly gentle with others, isn't just an old habit from childhood. It's sometimes protecting a role you've built your worth around. If you're always fixing others, you never have to sit with the discomfort of not knowing how to fix yourself. There's also something quieter happening here, a kind of unconscious math. If you comfort everyone else, maybe someone will eventually comfort you back. Maybe if you're endlessly understanding, someone will finally be endlessly understanding with you. It rarely works that way, but the hope behind it makes sense. It's not weakness. It's someone trying to get their own needs met the only way they learned how, indirectly, through everyone else.
Here's what most people get wrong about this whole pattern. They think the answer is to just be nicer to yourself. Like self-compassion is a switch you flip. But you can't talk yourself into self-kindness the same way you talk a friend into it. Because with a friend, you're not attached to the outcome the way you are with yourself. Their mistake doesn't threaten your identity. Yours does. That's why just be kind to yourself often feels hollow or fake when people try it. It's not that the advice is wrong, it's that it skips a step. Before you can believe kindness toward yourself, you have to notice the specific voice that shows up when you're struggling and ask where it actually came from. Whose voice is it? A parent's? A teacher's? An old version of you that got hurt for feeling too much?
Once you can hear it as a voice, not as truth, it loses some of its grip. So here's a small, honest practice. Not a fix, just a shift. The next time you catch yourself spiraling on something you did, pause and ask one simple question. If my best friend told me this exact thing about themselves, what would I say back? Then say that, out loud if you can, even if it feels unnatural, even if part of you doesn't believe it yet.
You don't have to feel it right away. You just have to interrupt the automatic voice long enough to offer yourself the version of comfort you already know how to give, because you clearly do. You've been giving it to everyone else your whole life, and maybe that's the realization worth sitting with.
You're not incapable of self-compassion. You're not somehow the exception to kindness. You already have it, fluently, generously, instinctively. It's not missing. It's just been pointed in one direction for a very long time. The people you comfort aren't lucky because you have some gift they don't. They're lucky because you decided somewhere along the way that they deserved gentleness, even when they were struggling. You deserve that too, not because you earned it by helping everyone else first, just because you're a person who's struggling sometimes, the same as they are. So tonight, if that familiar voice shows up, the one that's quick to judge and slow to forgive, try, just once, answering it the way you'd answer someone you love. You already know how. You've been doing it for everyone but yourself.